What is going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. It's your boy Sly Jordy, and welcome back to some more F1 25 driver career mode for the Las Vegas Grand Prix. But if you missed last episode, it was a pretty big one in Sao Paulo. It was a sprint weekend in Brazil, where we of course played the team game for the main race. Anyway, sprint race was completely chaotic, fully in the wet, red flag, and we were able to somehow get a P2 out of it. Unfortunately, showing sprint results is still broken. It just copies the normal results, unfortunately. It's just very, very strange. But yeah, we ended up getting a P5 with Alonso netting a P4. We focused on keeping Verstappen behind us, but unfortunately that let Leclerc completely off the leash for him to get another big victory in this season. So with a few races to go, just 3 races to go, technically 4 if you count the Qatar sprint, we are 12 points behind Ferrari and only 2 points ahead of McLaren. So it is really all to play for, with Ferrari having full advantage going into the next few races. So defending Alonso from Verstappen was probably not the greatest idea. I probably should have gone past Alonso once we realised that his pace was pretty slow. Only Verstappen probably would have overtaken Alonso at that point anyway, and by that point we could have possibly caught up to Leclerc and maybe, fought with him for points, and the constructors' standings would be a lot closer. But whatever, we need to put the past behind us and look ahead towards Las Vegas, which has always been a pretty strong circuit for myself and was a really strong circuit last time out in Season 1, where we won around the strip. Of course, it was a little lucky. We had a couple of safety cars, which definitely helped us secure the win. But either way, we've won around this circuit in the past. And now going into a second time round, we've got a much better car going for the championship. Yeah, we're obviously going to be aiming for a win. And to celebrate the Las Vegas Grand Prix, I've decided to wear a special helmet, the Doomsday helmet from the store. If we browse items now, I can show you where it is. This one right here. Of course, we've changed the colors quite slightly, but it does look absolutely beautiful. And that's going to be our helmet for today's episode. And of course, we have a few R&D points now as well, with so many upgrades left to go. Obviously, we've recently just hit 50% in terms of recognition as well, so we got a second R&D secret upgrade. I forgot which one that actually was, but either way, it's going to be one of these anyway. We could go with the DRS activation mechanism, but we only have like 559 R&D points anyway, so I'm most likely going to go with the chassis just to have further improvement. We're going to go with the rear floor under tray distribution, which should arrive after the Las Vegas Grand Prix, but it's only a 25% failure chance if we rush it right now, and we could get it before Vegas, which would be absolutely huge. We've got roll dampers coming in, hopefully.
Right,
no.
I'm afraid to say that we've had a major issue on the production line earlier this week, and the entire development package for the weekend has failed.
Yeah, that's no good.
Any redevelopments will need to be ordered from the R&D screen.
And that unfortunately will not arrive until Qatar now. We do get more points very, very soon. The rear floor under tray, that has at least arrived. So we do have an upgrade over the roll dampers at least. The distribution was only a minor upgrade. The next one is a major one, which we won't be able to get until after this season is finished. So it's probably worth ignoring that. But this one is a 0% failure chance and definitely pushes us out a little bit more in terms of chassis. I'm looking forward to doing the R&D scenario of leveling out the grid for next season, because then, we'll definitely be able to catch up in terms of chassis. This is probably our weakest spot on the entire car. Everything else is actually quite good. But either way, it's now time to get into the Las Vegas Grand Prix. Around the Las Vegas Strip, of course. What a race this is. Quickly become one of my favorite circuits on the calendar. Definitely one of my favorites in having like to be the last race of a season. The only reason it's not this time round is because I wanted to keep Qatar on the calendar just to see if we could have a better time around Qatar with a lower AI level in this season compared to how it was last season, because There's some huge issues with the AI in that one, and there's some huge issues with Vegas this time around because it's going to be in the rain. We have had so many unpredictable races in the last few episodes. I have no idea what it is. Singapore, Brazil, and now, Las Vegas. This is actually insane. I mean, Silverstone was the same as well. So, yeah, this is such a strange season, but I'm not complaining at all. We've got some driver market rumors surrounding Yuki Tsunoda. Apparently, he's in a tough spot at Red Bull. Let's have a look where he is in terms of the standings. To be fair, he is pretty level with Colapinto, but with Colapinto being the new driver, that definitely makes Tsunoda look bad, especially since Tsunoda had a pretty decent season alongside Verstappen in Season 1. There you go. He scored about 151 points, so he had a very strong season that time round. And the Red Bull is a lot weaker, let's be real, but yeah, he should be beating Colapinto. But Colapinto, the new guy, 2 points ahead of Tsunoda right now. It's all to play for in the last few races of the season. We could be seeing a driver change at Red Bull, which would be very intriguing. That is the team that's been extremely intriguing for the entire series so far. Verstappen leaving, of course, to go to Ferrari. And then, of course, Colapinto, of all people, coming in to replace him. It's strange, but yeah, we're just going to focus on ourselves for now, looking at the progress history. There's not been too many upgrades going into this weekend. In fact, I think it's ourselves, Alpine and Mercedes, the only ones really bringing upgrades in. Red Bull also bringing upgrades in, so Tsunoda really has to step it up now, especially, with his career on the line, it seems. Maybe he will end up somewhere else. So it'd be hard to think of Tsunoda not ending up at least somewhere else. But yeah, without further ado, it's time to get into qualifying for the Las Vegas Grand Prix.
Stand by to see cars at more than 210 miles an hour blasting their way down the strip. F1 has taken over. It's F1 Fever, Las Vegas.
Well, I'm in pretty high spirits going into this weekend in Vegas. We've always been strong around this track since its inception in F1 23. And going into qualifying here, I'm really hoping we could get somewhat close to pole position. Of course, after what happened in Brazil, we're definitely going to need the best results we could possibly get if we want the constructors. But of course, the Drivers' Championship will be confirmed any race now, either this one or the next one. If we can get a race win, that is it. The championship will be secured. So there's a lot at stake here tonight in Vegas, or rather in qualifying, and then tomorrow night in the race. I do want to mention I am sorry for the 2-week wait for this episode. I was really busy with the Halloween content, of course, and then I thought at the beginning of November I'm going to take a little bit of a break because I know I'm going to be doing a lot of Black Ops 7 content once that game comes out. I will be finishing this season this month though, so yeah, 3 episodes to go, 3 races to go. Let's make it a big one, and then I'm going to take a little bit of a break from the series, but I'll explain more about that as we get closer towards the final episode. I'm not ending the series. I feel like we've still got at least another couple of seasons left in us for this game before all eyes are set on F1 26, but as for now, right now anyway, all eyes are set on Charles Leclerc, who has gone a 10th quicker than us for pole position here in qualifying. Yuki Tsunoda doing really well in the Red Bull. That's exactly the kind of qualifying he needs. Esteban Ocon in the Haas. Gabriel Bortoleto in the Kick Sauber. He's been cropping up a little bit here and there. We know Ocon regularly crops up in that top 5 now. Carlos Sainz in the Williams is up there now as well. And speaking of Williams, Alex Albon has just gone up into P2. We're not gaining too much time. I forgot to spend some of that ERS on that straight in Sector 1. So, yeah, that definitely cost us a bit of time, and I've been overcompensating over the course of the rest of the lap as Yuki Tsunoda now goes up into P2 in that Red Bull. So that's a cracking lap from the Japanese man right there. That's exactly what he needs after the rumours that have been circulating recently, and we're still losing time. We did gain a little bit in the corners, but we just don't have enough ERS in the straights. We've spent too much. What's it going to be? It is P4. So not the best position. We absolutely could have done better if we had as good of a lap as we did in that first stint with the extra grip that comes with track evolution. We absolutely could have and possibly should have been P2, but yeah, P4's not the worst thing in the world as long as we get a good start and Leclerc doesn't run away with it. Alonso, our teammate, unfortunately down in P17 with Verstappen in 8th. It's not looking good for the Constructors' title.
We might be in the middle of the desert here, but it does still rain in this part of the world. It's raining right now. How is that going to affect things down the world-famous strip at the Las Vegas Grand Prix?
So a lap of Las Vegas comprises 3.8 miles and 3 straights, but our drivers won't be at top speed down them today as it's very wet out there. It does rain in the desert, sometimes, and now it poses a question of bravery and of strategy. It's time to take a look at our starting grid for today's race. A fantastic effort from Charles Leclerc yesterday, and it's put him on pole, just edging out Alex Albon, who'll start from P2. As we continue through the rest of the grid today, we have the rookie, Ocon, Carlos Sainz, and Bortoleto, Verstappen, Stroll, Russell, and Lando Norris, Hulkenberg, Piastri, Pierre Gasly, and Hadjar, Fernando Alonso, Tsunoda, Franco Colapinto, and Ollie Behrman. Doohan and Andrea Kimi Antonelli rounds off the grid. Now it's almost time for lights out, so let's go down to the track. And striding into our commentary box to join us today, the man, the myth, the legend, Anthony Davidson. Quitting while you're ahead, not spending too much on the slot machines and trying to get some decent sleep. That's my main 3 challenges here in Las Vegas, but what about the drivers?
Yeah, speaking about the on-track challenges, Crofty, enough about you and your challenge over the weekend. This track, you're on Monza downforce, don't forget. So every corner that comes your way, you've got way less grip than you're accustomed to in a Formula 1 car. So you've got to tread carefully, particularly around the higher speed content on the circuits.
Okay, here we go. I know what you can do. Don't let me down.
Full wet conditions here in Las Vegas, and we got a little bit lucky as we are now starting in P3 due to Yuki Tsunoda's grid penalty. It seems as though that high qualifying position was only attained because of the fresh engine that he put in. So this is a great opportunity for us to perhaps keep up with Leclerc. This will not be a race where Leclerc runs away with it as he has done in previous Grand Prix. That's the worry here. When Leclerc is out in front, he does tend to run away with it. So here we go. We've only got 2 cars in front of us. Albon in the Williams, Leclerc in the Ferrari will lead us away as it is. Lights out and away we go. And it's a great start from us. It's a nightmare start from Charles Leclerc as we've got so much space to make the double overtake around the outside as Leclerc. That's a very naughty defense against Albon, as Albon has been forced wide. In real life, I'm pretty sure that would have been a penalty for Leclerc, but Esteban Ocon in the Haas moves up to P3 as we lead the field away. What a great start, an absolute dream start, exactly what we needed for our championship hopes. We want to secure the championship as quickly as possible, and this is exactly how we want to do it. Fernando Alonso's had a decent start as well. He's moved up into P14. Hopefully he can make a lot more overtakes. The McLarens nowhere to be seen. Verstappen down in P6, blocked off by the 2 Williams. Even George Russell is all the way down in P8. So the only guy we really need to worry about right now is Charles Leclerc, and Verstappen is too low in the field to actually do much for Ferrari. So this could actually be a nice little swing in the Constructors' Championship for us to gain a little bit of points on the Scuderia going into the last 3 races of the season, including this one, as we now get on to the main strip in Vegas. This is what everybody has come to see, of course. All the Formula 1 cars going down one of the most iconic roads in the world, as Charles Leclerc now peels off to the right. He'll be looking to make a move around the outside. It's side by side here. Leclerc inching out in front. Ferrari versus Aston Martin. We've got the inside, and so we're going to have a much better time of it as we go through this chicane. So Leclerc, easily the fastest car. We know Ferrari are the fastest car on the grid. Hell, the only reason we're in this Constructors' Championship is because everybody other than us has been extremely inconsistent this season, and we're hoping Alonso can pick up some consistency, so you know, we can win the Constructors' Championship. But it's not looking good right now. Weather's changing, however, so that's a little bit of a spanner in the works. Who knows what could happen as chaos is about to ensue. We'll be pitting on lap 4 for Inters, and we'll be pitting on another set of Inters later on in this race. Of course, we're pitting on lap 4 because it seems as though our teammate Fernando Alonso will be pitting on this lap. So I don't mind that at all. That gives him a little bit of an undercut. I'm hoping that Leclerc does not have priority for Ferrari, but if he does, that's not a good thing, as we're now side by side. Leclerc has so much more battery than us, or maybe not, I don't know, but we've clearly spent a lot. We've only got 19% right now as we move once more through the chicane, still in front of Leclerc. Albon not too far behind. He's overtaken Ocon and gapped him. Verstappen 4.2 seconds behind as Leclerc and Albon and Ocon pit. So yeah, they'll be getting the undercut on us. I'm not quite sure if it truly is ready for intermediate conditions. We might be on the crossover. It doesn't matter anyway, as a safety car has been called out. So a really good start from us. We've done really well to defend against Leclerc. But that might all be undone now, as Leclerc is already out with that safety car, of course. And yeah, we're having to really slow down. There's a good chance that we might not be in P1 once we come back out. So that's pretty sad right there. I don't know what caused the yellow flag, of course. It might have something to do with Doohan. I did look into Doohan after this race. He did lose a part of his front wing. However, that was on lap 1, so he had already pit, and now he has pit a second time to go on to Inters. So Doohan's race is all but over as we come out in P2, just about, by the way, just about ahead of Alex Albon. Who knows how that might have actually gone had normal conditions stayed the same, but either way, after all that work we did in that first stint, Leclerc gets off easy, and he's into P1 as we now prepare to resume racing, this time on the Inters. It's still pretty heavy rain from the looks of it. I have no idea how we're in intermediate conditions. Maybe it's because, you know, there's so little corners throughout this track that, you know, maybe it's just safe enough to go on the Inters. I feel like if we were on a track like Spa, for example, in these conditions, it would never happen. But, yeah, it seems as though we can drive on the Inters, and it does feel like we can, so it's not too big of an issue. It is kind of similar to the conditions that we had in Singapore, where it is sort of on the crossover, but leaning more towards the Inters, of course. But of course, in Singapore, we didn't have an issue with the safety car or anything. We were on the wets. We stayed out on the wets, I'm pretty sure. Or was it on the Inters? Either way, we did stay. Yeah, we stayed out on Inters. That was it. And yeah, got an easy win because we were just so far ahead of the rest of the grid because of just how good the tyres still felt, even though it was technically ready for wets. But this time round, everybody has got onto the Inters. We're not far enough, and of course, the safety car was there as well. So, you know, there was no Singapore-like risk for us available at all, as we now hope to catch up to Leclerc. We'll be spending a lot of battery. Leclerc clearly, once again, the fastest car. We're just using the slipstream as much as we can as we dive down the inside, and Leclerc way too passive there. That is going to be an easy overtake for us as we move up to reclaim P1. That's amazing for us. Our teammate Fernando Alonso down in P12. Piastri has fallen to P18. That's not good for him. Bortoleto in the Kick Sauber is in P7. That's looking really, really good for him, as Norris did overtake him at some point. I think it was right as the clip was transitioning there. This is lap 8 now. We've been instructed to keep Leclerc behind, but as you can tell, I just don't have the battery at all, and he is going to go past us with relative ease. We might still be able to fight this, but Leclerc, that's a really good move there. Spends a little bit more battery to get in front of us and then covers off the inside. So if we'd have dove down the inside, that would have been a pretty bad move on our part. So Leclerc, fair and square, takes P1, and unfortunately we've got so little battery that we're now coming under pressure from the Williams of Albon here. Makes a bit of contact with us, and Verstappen sets the fastest lap of the Grand Prix, so it's not looking too good for us right now, as we look to not only keep up with Leclerc but also recharge the battery. And we're doing a good job of keeping up with Leclerc, a really good job, as we set the fastest lap on that next lap. But unfortunately, our battery is looking quite low. Tyre wear rate's lower than expected, according to our engineer. I don't know what that means, because it doesn't change anything in terms of the strategy. Maybe they wanted us to stay out a little bit longer on the inters, but to be honest, I haven't really paid attention as to when they wanted me to pit on the inters. Ever since we pitted onto the inters initially, the first stint, I mean, I just haven't really been paying attention to it. I've been just hyper-focused on keeping up with Leclerc, as Leclerc has now knocked us out over a second. There is no DRS, so it's not too much of a difference, and we are still gaining time in the corners. But when it comes to acceleration, Ferrari way quicker, as there is yellow flags behind. I wonder what's going on there as we cross the line to kick off lap 11, and a second safety car has now stopped the field once more. As yeah, I don't know what's going to happen now. We're not going to pit until lap 15. There's no way I'm going to pit on another set of inters this early. We've only been on the inters for a few laps, especially if you count the initial safety car. But let's have a look on how that was caused. It is George Russell looking to make a move on the kick Sauber of Gabriel Bortoleto. He doesn't seem to have a problem making the move, even though Bortoleto is getting side by side, but oh, he goes over the curb, loses control of the car. Nobody was harmed in that situation, however, that is still a blockage, and so that is an obvious safety car as we skip ahead now, as we prepare to resume racing once again, chasing down Leclerc. We seem to have caught the cars behind us napping, as Albon was about 7/10 behind. And I honestly, he's not really been in this fight at all anyway, struggling to keep up with myself and the Ferrari. So it is, honestly, the win just seems to be between myself and Leclerc. Lando Norris has made a bit of a recovery drive, so has Verstappen. So they might be lurking if they can get past Alex Albon, and they are bunching up according to the mini-map anyway. Norris and Verstappen actually going side by side. Judging from the leaderboard, we are still struggling to chase Leclerc, but we've obviously gapped the cars behind, so it will only be a matter of time before Albon does get past, as we're getting a little bit desperate for a move here. We're going to dive down the inside of Leclerc. That was probably the most desperate move I think I've ever put in, and as you could probably tell, it was an illegal overtake. We made contact to make that move, so on this straight I'm actually going to let Leclerc pass again, and we're going to try once more to get this move done. Of course, I don't have too much battery now. I've used so much to try and catch up to him, and at this point it feels like Leclerc is starting to run away with it, as Albon is now challenging us on lap 14. I don't have enough battery at all, and so Albon is able to use a lot more to actually catch up to us. We're going to be in a lot of trouble now, and it seems at this point Leclerc is going to run away with the race after all. So we've got to focus on keeping ahead of Albon, who has now just pitted. Some people will be pitting, of course. Both Ferraris, funnily enough, have stayed out, so I wonder what they're going to do. Maybe their tyre wear is good enough. I mean, judging from Leclerc's pace right now, his is definitely very, very good, as once more, there is yellow flags behind, and a third safety car in an absolutely chaotic Las Vegas race. This is absolutely insane. I don't know what's happening now, but this definitely helps us get another opportunity at Leclerc squashing the field back together once more. But that is absolutely insane. We've got Bortoleto, kick Sauber, P5. That is absolutely crazy. Our teammate, unfortunately, is all the way down in P18. I don't know how that's going to look once everybody's made their pit stops, but we will be coming in right now. Leclerc, funnily enough, is still staying out. So, I don't know. Are they planning to go until the end of the race or something? I'm not really sure what they're doing here. Of course, we know the other cars can last longer than ours. We do have one of the... we are in the lower half of chassis on the grid, so I still don't know how the top tier cars do feel about their tyres, but you know, they are staying out. So, I mean, Norris is up in P2 now, Verstappen P3, Gasly separating myself from that top three. It's very, very strange. We will be on much fresher inters, so maybe there's a good chance that we can get all these overtakes done, but that all depends on whether or not Leclerc will run away with it tenfold like before. But here we go, diving down the inside of Gasly as we get back underway. I want to get past him as quickly as possible. He is becoming quite the annoyance late on this season. We've got Oliver Behrman in the Haas. Ocon getting screwed out by the safety car all the way down in P16. But Haas won't be too worried as they already have another driver up there in the points, so P6 is really good for that team, of course, while we focus on ourselves not having the pace to catch up to Norris and Verstappen, but those two doing battle into the chicane side by side. One of these two will not come out as quickly as the other, and that could give us the opportunity to make the pass on the Ferrari of Max Verstappen. Having a little bit of a drag race here, but we've got plenty of battery to spare, and that is P3 gain for us. Unfortunately, Leclerc is getting further and further out ahead and quicker as he sets the fastest lap of the race. So that's not good at all, as we're now facing the rear of Lando Norris. We still have a car to overtake, so this might be race over right here in terms of fighting for the win. So P2 looks like it might just be our peak as we go down the main strip, using all of our battery here to try and catch up to Norris. We're going to try and dummy to the left, switch to the right, going around the outside, braking quite late. Can we make it round the corner? Yes, we can. And that does slow down the cars behind, and unfortunately that does let Leclerc gain quite a lot of time ahead as well. It is P2 for us, and that seems to be the peak of our powers for the rest of this race. But it's been a really good race, a really chaotic race, as Vegas is becoming one of the better tracks in F1 25, of course, as once again it looks as though we've got yellow flags behind once more. Carlos Sainz out of the session, and a virtual safety car this time, a fourth safety car, this time virtual. And yeah, I'm kind of sad about that. I was hoping it'd be a proper safety car, because now Leclerc is 5.1 seconds ahead. Ferrari starting to pick up that long-term pace that they are really strong at. We're able to compete with them quite well at the early goings of the race, but when it comes to long-term tyre wear, Ferrari are well ahead of us and the rest of the grid, as Verstappen, as you can tell, already gapped Norris, catching up to us tenfold. Leclerc has already gapped us by quite a lot. Of course, we did have to make some overtakes, but he probably would have gapped us anyway. It's not good at all as we return back to racing speed. But there's yellow flags ahead. Oh my God! And that can only mean one thing. That is Charles Leclerc. It's an engine failure. It's an engine failure for the Ferrari of Charles Leclerc at a pivotal moment in this Grand Prix, and at a pivotal moment in the Constructors' Championship. Leclerc dramatically out of the race. A virtual safety car called once more, a fifth safety car if you're counting the virtuals as well. That is absolutely huge, and with just a few laps to go, the only person that will be challenging us at all will be Max Verstappen in the Ferrari. Let's have a look at Leclerc here. We know he had an engine failure, but yeah, it looks as though in his frustration of the engine going down, just wasn't focusing and smacks into the wall. And yeah, that means there'll be a lot of debris on that particular corner of the track as he parks up and retires the car. That is absolutely huge for not only the race, but also the Constructors' Championship. That is 25 points lost for Ferrari here. Verstappen will be able to gain about 19 back if he does finish in P2. He'll be hoping to finish ahead of us, and he is looking quicker than us right now. So that just goes to show the amount of tyre wear that we have compared to the Ferraris. I don't even know if they pitted on a second set of Inters. It certainly didn't look like it, so I have no idea how they are so good even compared to me right now. We must be spending so much. I don't know, but that's just how bad our chassis is compared to the Ferraris. We're only able to really compete early on in the race, and then late on, you know, we've either got to have a buffer from earlier on in the race or get a bit lucky, and we've gotten really lucky here. That's a nice little dose of karma, to be honest, after the amount of points that we lost in Singapore, down to Alonso getting deleted from that Grand Prix, and of course ourselves making a pretty bad decision in Brazil to defend Alonso the whole race when we could have, you know, gone out in front. But yeah, getting a little bit of a lifeline here in Vegas as we are on the last lap. Verstappen is constantly gaining time on us right now, which isn't good at all. Pierre Gasly, a big position right there. Colapinto with a 10-second grid penalty in P5. I wonder how that happened. I don't remember looking in the replays to see how, but probably stopped still at some point in the circuit. We know that's a pretty common thing for the AI to receive 10-second grid penalties for, as we now move on to the onboard of Verstappen, and look at how much battery he's got. We are in a really dire situation at this point, as Verstappen's got all the slipstream in the world. He's going to peel off to the right way before the end of the straight. What's going to happen right here? We're going to dive down the inside, braking so late here, just about able to keep it on track. That was the most desperate defense I've ever possibly put on, and quite honestly, we needed to do that, otherwise Verstappen would have overtaken us as we cross the line to win the Las Vegas Grand Prix.
Yes! Yes! We've done it! You are the world champion! Oh, what a win! What a season! We are going to celebrate hard tonight, my friends. Bring the car home. Nice one.
And with that, another year of Formula One draws to a close, and a new World Drivers' Champion is declared. Another entry added to that prestigious list of the sport's most incredible drivers. Not just victory today then, but the championship as well. What a spectacular season they've had. Congratulations to the whole team.
Well, another race victory today. You could clearly see they're driving out there with very little pressure. You know they have the performance, they know they've got the car under them as well, and this has done no harm, of course, for their championship chances.
Aston Martin's performance today has shown that they can be competitive with the biggest names in the sport. They're making their way out to the podium as we speak, and the reaction from the crowd must be incredibly uplifting for them.
Well, it's been a pretty strange season, but we have come out on top as the most consistent driver. That's what it was all about at the end. We weren't the quickest driver on the grid by any means. We got, you know, our average qualifying position was P4, but out of engine failures, poor driving, poor qualifying from the other drivers, we just come out as world champion by proxy, being the most consistent driver and making as little mistakes as we have throughout the season. It's been a really, really good season for us, but yeah, with those 25 points gained, that has also allowed us to not only win the title, but get back into the Constructors' Championship. So Leclerc's engine failure really harming Ferrari's chances at clinching that championship. I'm just waiting. Yeah, there you go. We are only 5 points behind the Scuderia with 2 Grand Prix left to go. McLaren mathematically still in it, 17 points behind. So McLaren, at the end of the day, could still become Constructors' Champions. But man, what a race that was as we now finalize this episode. 2 more episodes to go, one in Qatar, which will likely be the final Qatar Grand Prix that we do in this season, because I mean, I think Vegas has kind of proved itself. I kind of want this to be the final race of every season. Somehow our recognition has moved down despite winning the race and the championship. That might have been because we failed that objective in keeping Leclerc behind. I think that plays more of a role in recognition, but still, I don't know how that happens. Unfortunately, that means we've lost our second R&D secret upgrade. I don't know if we had already made it, but either way, Yeah, that's just gone now for some reason. But guys, thank you all so much for tuning in and watching this episode of F125 Driver Career. If you guys liked it, be sure to hit that like button as hard as you possibly can, comment, share, and subscribe. And I will see you all next time for some more F125. Peace.